Hey, it's Grottu here, October 1st, 2020. Guys, if you and girls, if you don't have this book in your collection, you need to get it. Go to eBay, somewhere, and find it. It's a book called Comics, A History of Comic Books in America by Les Daniels. The cool thing, the graphics are done by Mad Peck Studios. Mad Peck is kind of this graphic artist, underground graphic artist, and so he did this incredible stuff, incredible artwork. The layout of this book is amazing, and it's incredibly well written. And I got this in the late 70s, probably about 1977. I got a copy of this through, I mail ordered it through, those Heroes World superhero comic book catalogs that they put out. I ordered it through there, and the thing about this book, and it's hard to hold a camera while I do this. It has reprints of old comics, and it has great. It has a color section too. Let's see if I can find what I'm talking about. All right, here's a section on Marvel, and they have an old Golden Age Captain America and an early Fantastic Four. But as you go through, it has in the back a section on underground comics, and it shows really the birth of underground comics. They were called 8-pagers, and here we have one on Pretty Boy Floyd and John Dillinger, and what these basically were. And there were these little comic books about the size of your hand, and they called them 8-pagers. They had 8 pages, and they were pornographic. Notice these; they only print the first 2 panels, and usually it was in this book they only print the first 2 panels, and it says here the original underground comics, the covers, and the comparatively restrained first panels of 2 of the most notorious 8-pagers, which featured explicit sex and implicit social commentary. Okay, so they took pop culture, and gangsters in the 30s were pop culture. Mainly it was comic strip characters, movie stars, like Mae West, and they were pornographic comic books. And really, you can see the direct linear path that they were sold under the counter, and they were against the law. And they called them Tijuana Bibles also because people thought they were printed in Mexico. Where they really were printed, I'm not sure. You could probably research it. But anyway, this book goes through underground comics. And of course, those 8-pagers I was just showing you, in the 50s, you could get them through the back of, reprints of them through the back of men's magazines, and they'd always have these little ads: comics, the kind men like. And those were the dirty comics from the 1930s. And I think they made them in the 40s too. But the weird thing about this particular book, Comics by Les Daniels, is they had a copy of this in my junior high school library, and I used to check it out. Then at one point it just stopped being there, and I guess someone realized that last chapter on underground comics was probably inappropriate for a middle school. Okay, so those were called 8-pagers or Tijuana Bibles, and you could see how they influenced like Harvey Kurtzman's Mad, and there are books you can get that are reprints of these things, and I'm going to try to be careful showing. It's not. I don't want to show you anything too horrific, but like here's one, a Betty Boop one, and they're just dirty comics. Usually they would try to imitate the style of the original artist. Here's a Flash Gordon one, Azura, Queen of Magic, and I'll just show you kind of quickly. Yeah, it's the ones I remember were the Popeye ones. I'll flip through quickly so it doesn't get too offensive. But anyway, here's I guess Mae West meeting Popeye. A lot of Popeye. Dirty comic books. Okay, that's what they were. And they were 8 pages. Okay, and you can get all kinds of different. In the 80s, they put out all kinds of collections of these things. There's even, I've even got a paperback here, Comic Striptease. A nostalgic romp through history when the 8-pager was the in thing, and the comic strip heroes were unclothed, unabashed, unrestrained, undignified, and uninhibited. So I don't know. I don't know where I ran across that. Probably half-price books. And then, of course, you can see how those later influenced, like, say, the National Lampoon. And see, it copies the Marvel style just kind of perfectly, but it's perverse. Okay, so whole point of all this is these comics here. It's my collection of Jack Chick religious tracts. So I went from Tijuana Bibles that were certainly not religious in any way, shape, or form, although they called them Bibles. Not sure why. These are actually religious, and these are comic books in that same format. The Tijuana Bibles were this size. Now, these have more pages than the old Tijuana Bibles, but I think when these started coming out, I think in the early 70s, maybe late 60s, I've got 2 copies of Holy Joe. That's one of my favorites. One must be a reprint. Yeah, see, there's differences. You can tell. Someone that's an expert can tell the difference in reprints. You know, the art's a little bigger there. This Was Your Life was a famous one. These are just, you can still get these. Chick Publications. Jack Chick was the guy behind these, and he died about 4 years ago. He was 92. I think Jack Chick's art he's got a real interesting style. Well, I think you can really see it in this one. This Was Your Life. It's kind of like 50s advertising art, and these are just left around on benches for bus stops. I used to see them a few years ago at the gas pump at my local gas station, and they were left out for your people to pick them up, and it is supposed to convert people to Christianity. And see, this person's dead, and an angel takes him up. And these are printed in all different languages and distributed all over the world, all through the Americas and who knows where else. So anyway, I hate doing this with one hand. So God's on his throne, and they have this giant drive-in movie screen, and they replay the guy's entire life from when he's a baby to see if he's going to be worthy of going to heaven. And there you are as a teenager. Hey guys, this is the dirtiest story I've ever heard. It goes like this. No, stop. Not that story, not here. Nice. I remember doing that, but no one saw me. So he's looking at a girl, and then he's going, why didn't someone warn me about all this? He was unmerciful, false accuser, he was proud, disobedient to parent, lies, he was a thief, whoremonger, envy. So he was born in church, and he never repented, so there he is, very upset, and his name is not in the book of life, and so he's sent down to the lake of fire. And these were just kind of shocking. They were they didn't, it got part of the message of Christianity, but didn't get, it was just mainly the, it didn't really get what the whole message of Christianity was. This is meant just to scare you. And of course, these pop up. Yeah, they're kind of the same. This is Jack Chick's style. But he had other artists to work for him, because and this is another guy that I see a lot of tracks from. He's got a more realistic style. But mainly the Jack Chick did these little ones. These little, there's one about the Antichrist. Now, some of these, see, they have a lot of anti-Catholicism, and they have, they're against Muslims. They even have some more recent ones where they preach against Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, this was your life. I've got several of that. Okay, so there was a kid in elementary school, 3rd, 4th grade. I think it was 4th grade. And we were in San Antonio at Regency Place Elementary School. And this kid, his church had these out in the lobby, and he would pick up a bunch of them and sell them to us at school. I think he would sell them, I don't know, for a dime, a quarter. And I bought some from him. There was one he refused to sell to anyone. It was about exorcism. And he said that was too scary. This is a famous one. He just would not, he refused to sell it. So it must have scared the heck out of him. Yeah, a demon's nightmare. So, these, I gotta organize these. I don't know if there's any collector's market for these. I kind of doubt it. I know that there's been a few scholarly articles written about these, and I know that I think someone wrote a book about them. They also put out actual real comic books, like normal size comic books, called the Crusaders. It was a group of adventurers that went around looking for Noah's Ark and doing exorcisms. They were kind of an adventure team. Oh, I remember Bad Bob. Yeah, Bad Bob. Look how bad he was. These really scare you. Oh, this is a famous one because, and I showed you those old dirty ones. This one doesn't have any words, so it could be used in any country. This poor kid is just out fending for himself until, oh my gosh, it's just really horrible. He finally gets beaten to death. And the thing about these are religious, but there's something that seems so wrong about them. The scratchy art, it just, you feel kind of wrong about reading them. There's something, when you're a little kid looking at them, it kind of feels like everything's so dirty. And I love the art style. There's something about them is makes you feel like maybe a kid in the 30s looking at those dirty comics that were about the same size as these. It's just, he finally gets the message that he's loved after all that horrible stuff happens to him, and then an angel gets him when he dies and takes him up to heaven. Excuse me. Well, you've probably seen these, and so I collect them because I don't know, but they scared me. But this is not the real message of Christianity. And I consider myself a Christian, but these are, although I admire the art style, and also little things like, there were things in it like Holy Joe. He was like this religious soldier, and of course they all kind of made fun of him, kind of like Gomer Pyle. He's picked on by everybody, but I remember there was like a pin-up calendar behind the soldiers in this. I'm pretty sure. I remember seeing that as a kid. Maybe I already passed it. Oh, this one has, yeah, they go off into combat. Okay, I gotta stop doing these videos where I'm holding the camera with one hand, and it's driving me crazy. Okay, well, they get shot, and it's really, I have my glasses on, but as I recall, it's really grisly. Man. Unless they altered the artwork in a later printing. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see the bullet holes in the bodies and the blood. Yeah, I remember looking at this in 4th grade and thinking, oh my God, look at them getting shot. And then their souls come out of their body. Okay, but somewhere in here, I remember feeling guilty as a little kid because this was in it. I felt like I was looking at something wrong. Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. Here's the Sarge. Hey Sarge, we're gonna have to trouble with Holy Joe. Look what he did to the shoes we threw at him. He shined them. Put that little murder on. Put that little fucker on KP. For 1 week, he's just begging for trouble. Oh yeah, okay, this is what I was seeing as a kid. Is these calendars behind Sarge. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, and now it's very tame, but I was thinking, these are just, I didn't know what to think of them. But of course, at the end of every one of these tracks, they have a prayer for you to say that will help you. You must, yeah. So these were distributed internationally, but I think if you were an older guy in the 1970s and these were popping up around, you'd probably say, no, don't look at that to your grandchild, because you would think it was one of those old dirty comics that you saw when you were a kid that floated around. I guess they were sold under counter and stuff. So, Jack Chick, in my opinion, and what I firmly believe is that there's a life beyond this, that when you die, it's not the end. A good friend of mine passed away a few years ago, and I've had some vivid dreams where he's here, right in front of me. And it's more than a dream. And I said, well, wait, hey, what? You're dead? I was at your funeral. And I had my hands on his shoulders, and I said, what? How are you here? And he says, it's a long story. And he says, I need you to remember this. And he says, you're going to forget, because I need you to remember this. And he said, he gave me a verse. He said, it's read John, and he gave me a number. And of course, when I woke up, I couldn't remember the number. But he says, I know you're going to forget, because he knew I was forgetful. He said, you got to remember this. John, I don't know the number. So my wife mentioned this dream I had to his brother. And he says, well, you know, he believed that really was my friend communicating to me, his brother communicating to me. He says, well, you know, it's not that long a book. You just got to read all through John. And so some part of it, he was trying to let us know that, you know, that he lived on. And I've had people in my family that actually died in the hospital and were revived, and they saw a family. And I really believe, you know, I've lost most of my family, and I know I'm going to see them again. And I think that looking at the world, it's obvious that there are evil forces out there, and you can see it every day on the news. There's this is really something's up, and if you really are awake, you can see what side of the political spectrum you need to be on, because there are people that are out there There, I mean, Hillary Clinton, in one of her emails, the emails that they were found right before that last election, she's talking about, well, I'll have to sacrifice a chicken to Moloch. Okay, well, so she's just joking. She's being funny. How many people that you know who Moloch is that aren't biblical scholars? Or, you probably think, well, Moloch was the villain in Kingdom Come, the Alex Ross DC project from the late 90s. To just casually say in an email to another person, I'm going to sacrifice a chicken to Moloch. And chicken is also slang for a child. Whether she's really a devil worshiper, who knows? But I think there's some evil people out there, and they don't have our best interests at heart. These comics scared the heck out of me as a kid, and I don't think this is the right way to introduce Christianity to people. I really don't. And it caused me to get to the point where I would just repeat in my head. I remember I had it all memorized. I would say this prayer in my head. I am a born again Christian. I'm saved, and nothing anyone could do or say or think could ever change my mind. I was just in my head. I was repeating it like some cult member, because these comics scared me so much. I remember sitting in the movie theater waiting for The Empire Strikes Back to start in 1980, and I was just in my head. I'm a born again Christian. I'm saved. Nothing anyone could do, say or think could ever make me change my mind or take back those words. For I truly love Jesus Christ with all my heart, mind, and soul. And I just kept saying it as a mantra. And the Bible says you're not supposed to repeat the way the Romans do. They keep repeating because they want their gods to listen. And I think what scares the heck out of you more than anything is that these books, this is the scary part. Okay, so you can control your behavior and your actions and what you say to other people, right? But when this guy's watching his life played back to him on the drive-in screen, and he's like looking at this girl, he's going, nice. Because I guess he's committing a lust. Or telling some dirty story, a dirty joke. But that means that, okay, it's not just what you say, it's what you think. You can go to hell for what you think. So if you see some girl in a bikini with a big ass on the beach and you stare for a second, it's like, well, you've committed lust, that you might as well have committed adultery. You're doomed because you thought something. And it's like when you get, Santa Claus, when you're a kid, it was what you did, but Santa Claus didn't punish you on Christmas morning because of things you thought. And when it got to thought crime in these comics, I thought, well, how do I... So I would try to, say these prayers in my mind just to keep bad thoughts out, I guess. I don't think, just looking at someone of the opposite sex and thinking, oh, they're pretty or they're handsome, I don't think that's gonna get you put in hell, because hope not. I think well, anyway, this stuff, the Crusaders, those are around somewhere. I've got some copies of those. Those are actual comic book form. But this Jack Chick put out also some books. There's a guy on YouTube. Oh, you got to look him up. His name is William Schneblin. And I don't know how it's spelled. I think it's Schnoeblin. He's William Schneblin. He's got a big white beard, right? And he says, and he wrote an autobiography, and it's put out by Jack Chick, and he says that he was a vampire, he was a werewolf, he was a Mason, he joined every Scientologist, he joined every cult possible, right, before he finally became a Christian. And he even was a monster. He became a vampire, he became a werewolf, he was a witch, he was in the Church of Satan, he was just flipped around to every group. and he tells his story. So if you look up, it's probably on YouTube. It's like hours, and there's like a 5-part mini-hour interview with him where he's telling his life story. You got to listen to it. I think it's like Interview with a Vampire, William Schneblin. You got to look that up. That's fun too. But I'm not making fun of religion. I am religious, despite the fact that there's some, like Playboy centerfolds up. But I'm religious, maybe a little hypocritical. There's a lot, there's a lot of scantily clad women in a lot of the comic books, and Alex Raymond, his stuff is pretty out there, and I collect old girly magazines and stuff, but and men's adventure magazines. But there's good and bad in the universe, and but something. Getting too philosophical here. I'll be back with with another amazing video later in the day. I gained about 10, 12 subscribers yesterday because of what the comic Crypt Keeper of Castle Hills recommended this page, and I gained a lot of subscribers. So I'm glad to have you guys, and hopefully this video, if this is the first one you watch, doesn't make me seem completely insane. But I'll see you.